course, in your reading, the first ceremony would be the keeping of the spirit and releasing of the spirits. Those are important part of life. When you finish your time in this world, and when your spirit is now willing to go back into the spiritual world, when that person left the physical body, the nari, then it did something to everyone. They didn't know what to do. And they don't know how to deal with the loss of a loved one. And so the ceremony that was brought was that, keeping of the spirit. And usually it's for a person who is well or honored person, because in your reading you will find out why, why this person have to deal, and all the Teoshpa community will collectively help this person as that family keeping the spirit of a loved one. Okay, so it is important, and now that we are dealing with our own spiritual way, and when that happens, when that releasing of the spirit, the family now begins a new life, a new outlook on life of its Teoshpaya. And so it's important that we understand each ceremony that the Lakota people have. And that's who we are, as we understand it. As an individual, a Wichasha has the vision of certain ceremonies that we have, okay? As standing buffalo, when he received or was given that pipe, there are certain things that he must do now. Now he is very, like putting him on a upper level, a highest rank that he was given. But in order for him to accept that, he have to be humble, and he have to be able to be a strong leader, modest, so to speak, a humble way, so that the people will find him as a role model, or other tribes will find him as that, and continue. It's like a ripple effect, how standing buffalo presents itself to the whole tribe or the nation as Oyate. And so it's a hard life for those who have the pipe in understanding of that, especially the medicine men, as we call them today, Wapia Wichasha, the healers. And it is not something that you have that was popular at that time, because you can use that in many ways, and the answer you will receive from using that pipe, it makes people change somehow. Sometimes they go into the negative way and use that as a personal things that they just for their own personal gain, and as they always say, what goes around comes around. It's that way. Usually they lost a loved one that is dear to them, or something happens to the individual person, and so And sometimes, they need to deal with that and that individual. That's why we have ceremonies to address that. We have all kinds of ceremonies, we as Lakota people, in this life. Everything that we need, somehow some person have a vision about these things, the controversies or conflicts, and we do have a ceremony. Each Teoshpa have their own ceremonies in many areas, buffalo hunting or killing a buffalo, a warrior going out, even from the time of birth, there's ceremonies. Each stage of life, a ceremony is being performed for that individual. And so, and it has to bring peace in life in each person. And the peace is very important, because once you find that, that's who you are, and live in harmony with all creation, as we learn in the Sons of the Wind, or the creation story. So there's a lot of in-depth things that associate with the lives of individual, and that could apply to all Teoshpa as members of that Lakota way of life. Lakota way of life is those that receive the pipe, and how they, in time, there will be Lakotas, the allies, the peaceful, and how they could adjust to any conflict or negative things, because they have the pipe to work with, the wakha, the life, the energy that we get when we use the pipe in a good way, okay? Of course, also in a negative way. I'm pretty sure that person or persons find something by using in a negative way, but that would be for their own selfish reason. How Ikto, who is always there to do that, to make us do things, looks like it's good, and all of a sudden hit a wall, and that's it. We'll be left alone, and then it's hard to recover from something that, we thought it was good, and we thought people understand that. All of a sudden we hit a brick wall, and then we cannot come back into the society that once honor us, once look up to that individual. So it's danger in that part. You cannot come back. Maybe the people are ready to welcome you back, but it's that pride that goes with it wouldn't let us return, and then we become something else, We cannot recover enough. But some do recover, and then, the harmony that was there, becomes real to that person who recovers from, active using the pipe in a negative way. And sometimes, something die within them, and then they cannot grasp the peacefulness or the meaning of the pipe, or the way that, it was given to the Lakota people. Okay, so it's a matter of how we deal with our own energy, our own spiritual, our own wakha, because we're wakha. We do have vein. Ka means vein. Wa makes that ka a noun, and it's real. And so we're that. But sometimes we lose it somewhere, and we become our own personal enemy because of that. Okay, as we talked about the pipe, how it was given to the Lakota people in a special way, and today the pipe is still over at Green Grass. And I know the family. I usually visit Stanley when he was alive and his family, and I seen where they place the Tehinchala Chanupa, the calf pipe. It was, the time I seen it was in a tin shed. It's painted red. But recently, I think the Sichangu, when they have that lumber corporation or whatever it is that they have here, at one time they donate some logs, so now it's in a log building. Okay, every certain time they brought a bottle out and open it, and I was invited to those, but I never did go over there because I believe it's there. I believe it was brought by a spiritual person and given to a physical people. And I believe that, so why should I go and see it when they opened it, you know? I believe it's just for people who wanted to see it and in order to believe it, or maybe say negative things about it, you know. Because sometimes I was told that sometimes they have to hide the pipe and put a duplicate there because a lot of other person wanted to steal it. In fact, some do already, you know, they took feathers, and that family, the whole family just, you know, died off. And there's no relatives or any persons there that have continue on because they stole it, and that's the consequences of that, you know. They just slowly die out, and that Teoshpa is no longer exist. So these are the things that, you know, usually happen. They said when they're trying to move it to Shan River at one time, and 4 policemen somehow died on the way back, you know, mysteriously died. So, you know, these are the stories that I've heard, and maybe there's other stories going around, but these are the stories that I heard that are important to me. And that added to my thinking, you know. It's there, and it's powerful, and that's our existence as people in a spiritual sense, you know, in a spiritual way. Once we understand it, you know, a spiritual way of life will be more real than as of today, you know. But the pipe that was there usually, and when I couldn't even draw a straight line. When a pipe is like this, they usually use it for ceremonial uses. This is and the social pipe is usually an L shape. But it still is made from the same rock or stone as the pipe that was brought. And so the social pipe, you know, people, when they usually use it at home, you know, and they always laugh. They always come up with positive things, make them happy, give them strength to, you know, laugh or talk about good things in life, or how to strengthen their lives. And so when they use that, they usually have a social gathering. I know one of my grandma have one and usually stick a cigarette in here, you know, and smoke it. You know, before they usually put and when a derm came in, they used that, you know, early in the morning they would sit on the floor. It's a one-room house, the log building that I was born in, and they would sit on the floor and, you know, smoke and talk and discuss. But first they'd laugh and have, you know, get the energy out, positive energy out, and they talk about things. So, you know, but usually they have this as in a ceremonial setting at times. Even the leaders have the pipe in this area. Okay. When the white buffalo calf women, who was at a time when the Lakota people probably were doing things in their own individual way of life. In fact, maybe the whole tribe or nation are doing something that will promote their own individual thinking pattern. And maybe they're doing things out of the ordinary. So that's why that pipe was brought, to bring the nation together in harmony and to proceed into the future in a way that is good for the whole nation. Maybe, as I stated before, we don't know nothing about the time when the people, Pteoya, they came into this world, and to the time when the pipe was brought. And from that time to this point, something may have happened. And it causes the spiritual being to make or to reconnect the spiritual part of us and to reconnect themselves to us once again. Because every one of us have our own choices that we have. And when we made that choice, it's up to us how we're going to deal with that within the community as well, or our Teoshpaya, Wichowe is of the same blood. And so maybe something has happened that, causes the Supreme Being to intervene on behalf of those who are not implicated into certain things that has happened there in their time, especially the women and the children. And that causes a drastic measure by the spiritual beings, our Creator, to intervene for us at that time, And as I was thinking at that time, Lakota people, they said there's a stick, 4 feet dogwood stick, cha'unkchemana, they call it. And it was brought with a pipe. And whenever the pipe is going to be used in a peaceful manner or whatever decision making that would affect the whole nation, they would use that stick to draw a circle, and they would go inside that circle and to discuss or to make decisions in a way that would guide individual as well as the whole nation. And so while they're doing that, it was getting towards evening, and a scout came up on a hill and looked down upon that meeting, and he said that circle glows, bluish colored glow. And so when he get down closer to that meeting, he couldn't see the glow. But so he told the people, you guys are in a special way. You guys are wakhan. The decision you make must be that, wakhan in a way that, it will be very special time when you're discussing things, and the prayers, whether it goes up into or goes wherever those prayers are meant to be. And so after that, they make another circle, and one by one they stood on a hill in the evening, and sure enough, the glow was there, you know. And so when they went on a vision quest, they do the same. They need to have a circle for protection when they go into a vision quest. And sure enough, in the evenings, you know, it glows around that person during the ceremony or the Hambalecha. And so it was good knowing that the spiritual being are there protecting or giving answers, positive answers. And the people, community, those who do that live well. You know, even droughts that we have, they still continue to live in a good way, never hunger. But of course, you know, when something like that, you know, a phenomenon thing that happens, you know, people tend to overdo it. So approximately every day or every night they use that. They use that stick for individual, for their own purpose sometimes, you know. Say they go to Hambalecha and glows people, hey, look at me, I'm glowing, you know, I have power in the presence of the spirits. And finally, the stick that was 4 foot was getting smaller. And, you know, after that, you know, that power or the essence of the presence of the spirits is no longer there. And going down, 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 and finally, you know, it's completely nothing. And so, by people who are making their own choices, use up that special power or recognition of each Tioshpa or individual is not there anymore. Because of selfish reason, they misuse it and it's no longer there. And so if you notice, you go to a ceremony, they use sticks, symbolic, you know, how something used to happen at one point in time. So at least they remember that. Symbolic that, you know, a special gift was given to them. And somehow they use those sticks as a symbolic. They usually have a long stick in the middle, you know, to represent that what was there before, you know, maybe hoping maybe it will continue. But it does happen in a different way, you know. Long time ago, they usually have ceremonies in the daytime. You know, spirits come in, daytime, they're healing and everything. But after 1834, when a lot of the cultural things, ceremonies was outlawed by the Bureau of Indian Affairs, which they call offensive law. And all the tribes throughout the whole world, if they practiced their ceremonies, they would be sent to prison. Okay, the Inipi was the first to be outlawed, the sweat lodge, purification, throughout the whole world. A lot of Indian tribes throughout the whole world practiced that, but now they can't do that. And so a lot of things went down, but somehow people began to go underground. They do practice late at night. You know, a lot of our ceremonies were practiced. They close the windows and late at night they do the ceremony, you know. Even today they still practice that. Sometimes they have ceremonies late at night, you know. Even though we have the Freedom of Religion Act in 1979 or so in that area, and we're free to do this, but somehow that practice is still there, and they continue to do things in the dark. And that's why usually they call them devil worshippers, because they're doing it at night. What they're doing is, you know, they still practice, but they do it in a different way, you know, in order for them not to be caught and sent to prison. So it's a life that is really suppressing the spirituality, emotional and physical. Those are all been disrupted in somehow, and they still practice that, And so sometimes they have to do it in a fashion where they have to get finished quickly. Just say prayers as fast as they can, and the Spirit comes in, and they're limited, because the Lakota people are very patient. When they do things, they do it in a way that, everything have to be reconnected in the spiritual sense, or the spirits will be more, doing things in a fashion where it's patience is practiced, and everything resolved in a good way. Sometimes might be all afternoon healing process, but now they have to do it, to finish it in a hurry. And then, so sometimes results are not what it was before, Besides, it takes time for a healing process to do, so they usually do it in 4 days, 4 days, four days of healing. But that changed, because if that stick was that producing those thing that make that ceremony special was not there. And now we're in a different setting where, we have to do things in the dark and trying to reconnect ourselves to our Creator, but it's in a way that it's not as it was before, and so it is have a negative effect on a lot of our ceremonies. And so when we have the Freedom of Religion Act, we're trying to do things that as in a proper way, but sometimes the spiritualist sense is not there, and so sometimes we need to have to get back to that and do it in a way, patiently, as it was meant to be. And so we do things within our own way of life, our own individual strength, and sometimes we do it in a different way. And that causes, our way of life, disrupt our way of life. Because even today, it's a lot of these things that are, as Lakota people, we have to do things in a way that will be acceptable to that other person. We're trying to please somebody in a physical sense, rather than give thanks to the spiritual thing, Now we're trying to please because they put a lot of regulation, rules, whatever in our ceremonies, and we're trying to please that, rather than as an individual freedom that, we accept the spiritual, our Creator's powers, the woakan that was given to us, as an individual. And so we're in a sense where we need to get back to who we are. We need to understand, revisit our pipe once again, and hopefully that, that Wakanda energy that was always there, we might be able to understand it and, begin with that. And the concept of mitake ayase would be real, mitake ayase, that's our sort of a slogan or something that empowers us to be who we are, because we understand nature, the elements, and the directions. As I stated, there's a lot of things that also involve in the directions. When we face a direction and address our relatives, those things are placed there, help us, give us more sense, and give us more of a power that we need. It empowers us as who we are, But today, it's hard to please somebody and trying to heal ourselves. That's hard to do. We always on the lookout for that rule or that regulation that placed in front of us.